What is up, everybody? It's been a while since I've actually recorded anything for Mileage Unknown. Not gonna lie, working on the old air-cooled cars right now has just kicked my butt, and the frustration is real. So I wanted to do a quick update on some of the project cars that I have here at the house and some of the stuff I've been collecting. An update on Pop's car, and you know, we'll even talk a little bit about the 56 Penelope, the 66 Fastback. That really, I told Travis the other day I was ready to drag the car home and let it sit for another 25 years. So things have not gone that smoothly on working on the cars, and I've recorded a bunch. I haven't put it together in a video yet because it's probably just hours of frustration more than anything else. And you know, there's times where I wonder why I even record any of this stuff, because it can be a lot of effort to actually put these videos together. And I look back at, you know, the videos that have Pops in them, and those are priceless. And the fact that it's made Trav and I do a whole lot more projects together has brought us closer. So that's cool too. And you know, we get little clips of B running around, and so I plan on continue doing the videos. They'll just come as I do them, you know, maybe with no rhyme or reason. I actually went to a couple car shows the other weekend and didn't take a picture, didn't take a video, didn't do anything but sit and enjoy the cars and walk around and talk to people and have a good time. Unfortunately, none of my air-cooled cars made it to the car shows, but I got to drive Speedy, which ran perfect, and Trav was driving the 55. And they were good shows, you know, so it was nice to just enjoy a show, not worry about recording stuff or trying to make a video out of it. Not saying I won't do shows going forward. It was just nice to have a little bit of a break. But I'm going to throw the camera on a different handle, and we'll talk about Pop's 56 and what's going on with it. We'll talk about the Dart a little bit and some of the projects I had planned and may or may not do, because who knows, the Dart might actually go up for sale. We'll see. So I'm going to flip the camera around, put it on a little bit different thing, and we'll talk about what's going on with Pop's car. So if you don't remember Poopie, this is my 76 Dodge Dart Sport. Honestly, there hasn't been a lot of videos of this car other than me picking it up in Idaho, road tripping it down to Arizona. Trav and I swapped the wheels, put some new wheels on it, and I did a short video of the shifting problems I had with Poopie, and we found that the linkage was loose on the transmission case. Now it's a 76 Dodge Dart Sport with a 318 4-speed. Now the 318 was just a nothing special, bare bones 2-barrel, and I have been collecting parts for it. So garage is a bit of a mess, but I had actually picked up a aluminum 4-barrel intake, a 4-barrel. I got a new Mopar Performance water pump and timing chain set. I actually picked up a bigger cam and lifters and gaskets and hoses and everything kind of needed to do a full cam swap, throw the intake on, and wake up the 318 in the car. Now that kind of turned into, I bet we're going to need new valve springs for the bigger cam, because who knows, these valve springs probably have 100,000+ miles on and aren't strong enough for the new cam. Which then kind of turned into, well, maybe we need to pull the heads and rebuild them. Might as well do valve guides, seals, and you know, redo everything in the heads before we do all that. So now we're into a bunch of money into the 318, which then led me to finding online out of California. I road tripped and picked up a stock rebuilt 360. This engine actually is date coded as 76, so it would go perfectly into the Dart. I could throw, you know, the other manifold on, we could throw the cam and lifters into this and do the valve springs at the same time. The cam I chose was actually a step up from the 340 and 360 4-barrel cams. So it would wake this 360 up quite a bit and would be super fun in the Dart. Now, the thing that becomes interesting is the fact that Trav, you know, kind of made a comment, why don't you leave the Dart alone? Use the engine for the Coronet. If you guys remember, that was part of the series of videos of me bringing that car down from Idaho on a trailer. We rescued the Coronet out of the weeds. So the Coronet's been sitting in Trav's side yard for pretty much a year since I brought it down. And the Coronet, I actually had talked to my buddy Kim up in Salt Lake about maybe doing the body and paint work on it. So now we're talking about pulling apart the Coronet, taking it up to Salt Lake so my buddy can work it over, and maybe using that 360 you just saw in the nice fresh painted Coronet, which leads me to maybe selling the Dart, which it's a fun car. I just don't know that I fully bonded with the car. And part of me thinks that car would be so fun with this 360 and bigger cam, do some headers at the same time. And with that 4-speed, it'd just be an awesome street car. But I don't know. I love that Coronet. I've had it for a lot of years. My buddy had it before me, and there's a bunch of crazy stories that go along with that car. And it would be cool to get that one back on the road. So that's kind of an update on Poopie. Some of the stuff I had planned that may or may not happen at this point. I'm going to flip you back around and we're going to talk about Pop's 56. So you guys have seen the 56 a whole bunch. Trav and I, and when Pops was here, we did a lot of work to it. We swapped that engine and transmission in. We lowered it. We've done all kinds of stuff. And unfortunately, I don't drive it enough. And that's part of the problem. You know, there's been times where I couldn't get it to idle. And you guys saw me pull the carbs off and apart. And we did have plugged up idle jets and plugged up jets, and that's why it wasn't at that time why it wasn't idling correctly. And you know, I drove the car the other day. I really wanted to do another video of remembering Pops while cruising his 56, and I drove the car to work and it just ran horribly. It didn't want to idle, you know, and if you were full in it on the floor, it got going pretty good. And that was kind of it. I brought it home, went to adjust the carbs, you know, made some adjustments on the carbs while trying to keep it running. And any adjustment I made on the carburetors had absolutely no effect whatsoever, which is kind of what happened when I had problems with the jets being clogged up, the idle jets and everything being clogged up. So this time, which I may put in a short little clip here that shows kind of what was going on. Now this is the top of the carburetor. It would sit on right like that. So this is, you know, part of the accelerator pump. You can see it's a little dry. So I actually have some rebuild kits here, but I'll tell you what was going on. So these two little air tubes on the top of the carburetor here, let me pull that back off, which is hard to do while I'm holding this. So maybe I should put this on a different, maybe I should put the camera on something else. All right. I don't really care about the gasket. So those little air tubes actually feed into the back of the carburetor right there. You can see them coming in. Kind of the interesting thing is they don't have a hole directly below them. So it's almost like there's a little pocket in the casting of the carburetor, and then there's this hole right there. Now that hole directly lines up with these holes here, right? Oh, guess it'd help if I was pointing at the right, or pointing the camera at the right thing, right? So that hole in that gasket lines up with these holes here in the carburetor body. These happen to be the idle jets that line up with those holes. Now in the short video clip that I'll put, I determined that I was getting quite a lot of vacuum leak, or air leak I should say, at the gaskets here. And these gaskets are very dry and hard. Now, I was getting that air leak by just putting some air or blowing a little air into there. The clip that I'll put, I actually was using an aerosol can that had carburetor cleaner in it, which obviously fluid isn't really running through these air tubes, but lots of air escaping, which is going to throw off that idle circuit. Throw everything off, which would make any of the adjustments that you're trying to do, you know, on the carburetor itself not have any effect. So I've got a couple rebuild kits. I'm gonna go ahead and throw these back together, put them on. I bought some plugs just because the car's been running goofy. Who knows what the plugs actually look like. So I'm gonna do that for Pop's car and hope that takes care of it. Honestly, these carburetors have probably 500 miles on them and have had to be apart a couple of times just because of different reasons. So hopefully I can get those back together and that'll make a difference. The other thing I want to do to Pop's car, and I don't think it'll be in this video, it might be next, I really want to pull the wheels off and take a look. Now Pop's always was under the impression that he had 2 real Porsche wheels and 2 fake Porsche wheels. Problem is the actual hub opening in the wheel, I believe, are different sizes on whichever is real and which is fake, and it's almost impossible to find center caps. And the ones Pops had on here, which I think were quite me personally kind of ugly. They're big, tall, goofy ones, and they should be more of a flush cap. So hopefully I can figure out the difference in the wheels and get the correct caps on there. The other thing is these cheap disc brake kits that I put on this car are so noisy. No matter what I've done, they're just loud. And then look at the brake dust coming off of these. It's insane. So I bought another set of pads kind of from a company using some cross-reference shenanigans, but it's a company that I actually like their brakes. So it'll be interesting to see if just swapping pads into this kit will make a difference. And if it does, I'll share the part number of those pads that I used. Hopefully it'll cut down on the brake dust to begin with, but really I want to stop the squeal. The car looks too good to be going down the road and hit the brakes and have it squeal at you. And it'll be interesting to see if I can figure out the wheels, because I've toyed with just buying new wheels for the car, but Pops loved the wheels, loved the big thick wheels in the back. I mean, these are pretty big dish, and we were always able to run a really pretty fat tire on the car, and when we lowered it, they just tuck up really nice. So if I do change the wheels, the key is going to be to keep that look. So there's a project update of the cars I have at the house right now, and the big one I really want to get moving again because the weather's actually pretty nice in Arizona right now is Pop's car. You know, I'd like to do some more memories with Pops while driving the remembering Pops while driving his car, because there's some pretty cool stories out there. You know, I'm probably not going to record actually rebuilding the carburetors or changing the spark plugs on the car. You guys have seen us go through that. You know, I just wanted to show you on what I'm dealing with now and how a vacuum leak could cause your adjustments not to even do anything whatsoever on the carburetor. And like I said, hopefully that's just from me not driving it. I hope that the new gaskets take care of that issue. If not, I don't know, maybe it's buying different carburetors, we'll see, but hopefully I can get the car running really good. It'd be nice to drive Pop's car again and do some more stories, cruising Pop's car and remembering him and telling some of those stories, because there's some good ones out there. So I am gonna get to work, and hopefully if I get the car fired up and dialed in, maybe I'll shoot a little clip of that. If not, that's gonna be it for this Mileage Unknown. Stay tuned for more car shenanigans, and hopefully we get some of my cars on the road. The part of tinkering with the cars, or the fun part of tinkering with the cars, is actually getting to drive them, and it's making me bonkers. Driving Speedy the other weekend to the car show was so fun. I told Trav I would drive that car every day because it just runs and drives perfect after everything we've done to it. And I want one of my cars to do the same. So stay tuned for more cars. Hopefully we'll get there.